Ms. Brown Zito, are you handling this case for state?
Yes, sir, I am.
Do you have any other witnesses besides the parties?
No, Your Honor.
All right, your case has been called. You can call your first witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. At this time, I will call Miss Laurent. Will you please state your name?
Stephanie Laurent.
And Miss Laurent, we are here today to talk about your two children.
Yes, ma'am.
And do they live with you?
Yes, ma'am.
And what county do you live in?
Hardin County.
And at the time when each Zachariah and Daniel were born, did you and Mr. Black sign paperwork stating that he is their father?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, at this time, I would offer the acknowledgments of paternity as to Zachariah and Daniel as State's Exhibits A and B.
Ms. Laurent, I've just placed on the screen a copy of the alleged acknowledgement of paternity for the child Zachariah. Is it okay if I look at this acknowledgement?
Yes, sir.
State's Exhibit A is admitted into evidence. Or, excuse me, I'm sorry. Mr. Black, is it okay if I look at Zachariah's acknowledgement?
Yes, sir.
State's Exhibit A is now admitted into evidence. I apologize. Ms. Laurent, I've now placed on the screen a copy of Daniel's acknowledgement of paternity. May I look at this document?
Yes, sir.
Same question, Mr. Black. May I look at Daniel's acknowledgement?
Yes, sir.
State's Exhibit B is now admitted into evidence.
Ms. Laurent, how are the children covered for health insurance?
They do have Medicaid. I had private insurance on them through Blue Cross Blue Shield up until 3 months ago when I changed jobs. But they do currently have Texas Children's Medicaid.
The children visit with Mr. Black?
No, ma'am. They have not seen him and had an actual visit with him in over a year and a half.
Is there a reason they don't see him?
Jeremy has refused every visit to go see
No,
them.
Stop, Mr. Black. Mr. Black, you'll get your chance, okay?
whatever.
Go ahead,
He
Ms.
has
Brown.
refused every visit for a year and a half.
Do they know who their dad is?
As far as Daniel and Zachariah are concerned, my husband is their father. They do not recognize Jeremy, and they have no idea who he is.
Where are you going with this line of questioning, Ms. Brown?
Well, I was trying to establish some visitation for Mr. Black. Do you understand that Mr. Black would be entitled to visitation?
Yes.
Okay. And what kind of visitation do you think would be in the best interest of the children at this time?
Supervised.
Okay. Why do you think he needs supervised visitation?
At this time, it is unsuitable for him to see them in my home because of his behavior. And
When you say because of his behavior, has something happened in your home?
we've had many violent instances where he has destroyed property in the home. He has punched himself in the head. He's broken his own glasses. When he gets overwhelmed, he just goes into full fits.
So are you asking for your address to be kept from him, or are you okay with that? You just don't want him to have visitation in your home?
I just don't want the visitation in my home.
Okay.
He's aware of the address. It's currently still the address on his license. He's never changed it. I don't want the visitation in his home, which I'm sure he will agree that we had established is unsuitable because Zachariah has Down syndrome and he has severe obstructive sleep apnea. And he currently lives with his parents and they smoke inside the home and there are bed bugs. And so it is not suitable for Zachariah.
Where are you suggesting that visitation take place?
The attempts that I've made over the last year and a half are to meet him to see the boys at the park or McDonald's, just anywhere in a public place where I know that his behavior is not going to be obscene.
For how long are you asking that be go on with supervised visitation.
I would like him to do some supervised visits, just for a shorter period of time, just for the boys to even get to know him again, since at this time they're unfamiliar with him. You know, just maybe, 6 months, just let them get to know who he is before he could take them alone, because they don't know him.
And are you requesting back child support?
No, ma'am.
Your Honor, I would pass this witness.
All right, call you next week.
I would call Mr. Black. Mr. Black, can you please unmute? Can you please state your name?
All right, hold on.
Hang on, what was that?
Hold on, stop. Mr. Black, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Mr. Black, I need you to stop moving around.
Well, I had to step out of my dad's house on because it's personal information that's getting said right now.
Okay. Can you find some place where you can be
That's where I'm going. Okay.
All right. Go ahead, Ms. Brown-Zito.
Thank you, Your Honor. Would you please state your name?
Jeremy Black.
And you are the father of Zachariah and Daniel, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any other minor children?
I do not. My youngest one from a person age 17.
And you are ordered to pay child support on that child?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And I'm like, things got behind with me and my first wife and all, my ex-wife. So I got behind on child support on that. But it has been coming out frequently.
Are you working right now?
Yes, ma'am.
And how much do you make an hour?
$9 an hour.
Where do you work?
Little Caesars.
And on average, how many hours do you work a week?
Roughly 30 hours.
And do you have insurance available to your kids through your work?
I don't think they allow they give out insurance.
And are you are you requesting requesting visitation with kids?
I would like to have visitation with them, but when I worked with the Little Caesars Inviter, I was working 7 days a week, and I was working 10, 12-hour days. I didn't have time to really see them. And then I had surgery at the beginning of this year. Having a stent put in on my heart, so that kind of pushed me back further.
And are you at a time now where you can visit with your kids?
I can, but every time when she was talking about sending visiting my boy Zachariah and Daniel, I didn't have the time now because I was working so much. But even like she said, now because I'm having to stay my dad now right now because of my situation that I had surgery. It kind of pushed me back on where I can't even try to get a place of my own right now because I gotta have them watch over me.
Yeah, I would pass this witness.
All right, call you next week.
I have no further witnesses, Your Honor.
All right, I have a few questions. Ms. Laurent, you can still hear me?
Yes.
Ms. Laurent, so you don't have any problem with Mr. Black having visitations. You just think it needs to be a let's get started again for contact so the boys get to know him again, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. You do have some concerns about where Mr. Black would be visiting with the children, and I did hear your concerns, and I'm going to ask those about with Mr. Black. But you basically had concerns about the children staying with Mr. Black in the household that he's currently in, correct?
Yes.
All right. So the initial parts of the phased-in visitation wouldn't be that big a deal, but once we get to overnights and weekends, then we might have to take a look at that, right?
Yes.
Okay. So as long as I know where I am in regards to what your testimony was, Mr. Laurent. Mr. Black, you can hear me now?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Mr. Black, Miss Laurent has some concerns about where you're living with your parents. Do your parents smoke?
Yes, they do. And
That's okay, Mr. Black. I mean, we're allowed to
no,
live.
I understand all that. I'm saying, but because we brought Zachariah over here before, and when we explained to them the situation on it, and my dad, it's his house on, it's his rules. He does what he wants to do.
Right.
It's
It's his
understandable.
house. That's the way he should be able to live the way he wants to in his own house.
Yeah.
But if that's not a good,
That's why they haven't been. That's why we haven't brought them over here previously, because of that.
all right. So let's look into the future for me, Mr. Black. If a few months down the road it's your time to start having the children overnight, where are you going to stay with them?
Well, I'm saying, like, that's the thing. I'm trying to get moved out. I'm trying to get back on my own because of this situation.
Right.
I can't have them come over here now because of them, the smoking in the house on, and also, like she said, and the bed bugs, the bug situation.
Okay. All right. Ms. Laurent, before I make a decision on this case, a final ruling on this case, is there anything else that you think I need to know about this case?
Not really. My only concern going forward is when we finally get to the place where he can have them overnight. What happens when we get to that place and he's still not able because he's been living 2 years with his dad?
Well, I'm gonna put some restrictions in the order, Miss Lauren, about people smoking around the children when you have possession. Okay.
Zachariah and Daniel were both born premature. They were both NICU babies. Zachariah, he has Down syndrome, but he also, in addition to the apnea, he does have asthma. He's on medication to manage that.
Okay.
So the home environment, it's not that I don't want him or his parents to see them. It's that Zachariah, he's got to be able to breathe.
Right. That's why there's not going to be any smoking around the kids. Was that not enough, Miss Lorraine? Did you think there was some other restrictions I need to put in place?
No.
Okay. I mean, all I can do, Miss Lorraine, is put it in the order that you can't smoke around the kids. Okay. It'll be up to you, Miss Laurent, to make sure that that part of the order is enforced.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Mr. Black, is there anything else that you think I need to know about this case before I make a ruling?
Right now, I'm just trying to get my bearings in place right now.
Okay.
But yeah, like I'm saying, the smoking thing and all, like I'm saying, I agree with that. I quit smoking in the beginning of this year, and then I had heart surgery done as well. So it took a factor on me.
Okay.
And me and her both know that it is a crucial thing, all with smoking around them.
Okay. Anything further from this?
Sorry?
There was something else, Mr. Black?
No, it's just there's a lot of factors about the situation on it, and I'm not trying to be how can I put it? I'm not trying to be like the bad person. But the only thing is she's talking about that I haven't seen them in like a year and a half. Right. Which is true. Because when I was working for Little Caesars and Biter, I was working 7 days a week. I didn't have time to really see them. And every time I saw them not is when she had to come talk to me and I saw them then, but I never actually physically had a sit down with them. And she's, I don't know, but she's never suggested going to like a McDonald's or anything. She did suggest a park, but I was working so much, I didn't have time because the parks around Invite or not, when it starts getting dark and on, they close the park off for the safety of everybody. So, like I said, I physically haven't sat down and seen them. And the thing about me hitting myself, which, yes, I've had some previous stuff not in my past not, but I don't do that anymore. And she thinks I'm a violent person. And like I said, this is not anything toward her. If she thinks I'm a violent person, then I think she needs to look more toward the people that she hanged out with in her past, because it did affect a lot. And also the
Mr. Black, let me ask you something.
So,
do you think you're helping or hurting your case by saying stuff about Miss Laurent?
No,
that's a pretty simple question, Mr. Black. I didn't ask you to explain it. I asked you if you thought you were hurting or helping your case by saying bad stuff about Miss Laurent.
I'm not trying to say anything bad about her.
Well, you are, though. And I don't think you're helping your case, Mr. Black.
Well, she says bad things about me.
But it didn't impact my decision.
Okay, I'm not trying to have an impact on your decision. I'm not.
Okay.
Then just forget it. Okay, I'll just won't talk right now. Make your decision.
Here's the thing, Mr. Black. You, for whatever reason, not your fault, you haven't had any contact with your kids in 1.5 years, right?
Yeah. But physically, yes, sir. I have not had to sit down with them in that long.
So we need to get you contact with the children reestablished, right?
Yes.
And your children are very young, yes?
Yes, sir.
So because they're young, we need to get a good impression on them quickly with you and get this visitation started quickly, yes?
Yes, sir.
You agree, Mr. Black, that you're not in a position right now, today, to have your children for overnight weekends, correct?
Where I'm currently staying at, yes, they cannot stay here.
That may change in the near future, and we hope that it does. But right now, the best I can do for you is to just get you contact with the children on a few hours here and a half a day there and a full day here somewhere else, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. So you see, nothing that's been said is gonna impact my ability to give you those rights, because it's not your fault or anybody's fault. It's that you haven't had any contact with the boys in 1.5 years. I got to reestablish that contact, okay?
Yes, sir.
That's it. That's all this is about. All the rest of it is just frosting and icing. I just want to get to the cake. All right? Miss Laurent, you think that the children ought to be supervised with their visitation with Mr. Black. I'm probably leaning toward that direction out at first for a short period of time. Where do you want the supervised visitation to take place if not at your house?
Either the park or McDonald's. I just feel that the park is more suitable.
Yeah, you can't do it. Yeah, you can't do it at McDonald's.
Because it gives him a little bit more personal time with them,
right,
to where he can go play with them, and
You live in what city do you live in, Miss Laurent? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I live in Lumberton.
Okay. What city do you live in, Mr. Black?
Viter.
Viter. All right, I'm going to do it at the Lumberton City Park.
You said it's going to be at the Lumberton City Park?
Yeah, it's on 421.
I know where it's at, but the thing is, I had no vehicle because mine got repoed, because when I had my surgery, I lost a lot of things. I lost my vehicle. I ride a bike now.
Well, you're not going to be able to do that from Viter.
No, not really.
You're going to have to try to make arrangements, Mr. Black, to get to the Lumberton City Park, because that's where I'm going to order the visitation. The children live in my county. This is where the visitation is going to start.
Yes, sir. I understand that.
Right. The court's going to find, the court has jurisdiction. The court's going to find, based on the testimony of the parties, it is certainly in the children's best interest to name the parents as joint managed conservators of the children, with Miss Laurent as the parent with the right to establish the primary residence of the child. Mr. Black is going to have visitation at any and all times mutually agreed to by the parties. If no mutual agreement, then he'll have visitation at a phased-in visitation schedule. There will be 8 supervised visits at the Lumberton City Park on the 1st, 3rd, and 5th Saturday of every month. After that, those 8 supervised visits, and Mr. Black's going to have 8 unsupervised visits for 4 hours, followed by 8 unsupervised visits for the full day, followed by 8 unsupervised visits with 1 night overnight. Once that last phase is completed, then Mr. Black can have standard possession. In the very beginning of the court order, Ms. Black, I want it stated, Ms. Brown-Zito, I want it stated in the possession paragraph that at no time will either party be allowed to smoke tobacco around the children. There'll be no smoking around the children of any kind. Okay, Ms. Brown-Zito?
Yes, Your Honor. Got that?
All exchanges of the children will take place at the Lumberton City Park. Any request for non-disclosure is denied. I'm going to order Miss Laurent to maintain the health insurance that she has on the children at this time. Mr. Black is going to pay child support and medical support as per the minimum wage presumption. My calculations show, giving him credit for one other dependent, that his child support will be $250 per month plus $25 a month in cash medical. There'll be no retroactive child support in this case, and won't cost by Mr. Black, but I will give him until April the 30th of 2024 to pay my court costs. Ms. Brown-Zito, did the state of Texas hear all the terms of my court order?
The non-disclosure is denied?
Yes, ma'am. I heard no evidence of any non-disclosure.
Yes, Your Honor.
Anything further?
No, Your Honor.
No. Ms. Laurent, Mr. Black, what's going to happen now? Ms. Brown-Zito's office is going to send me a court order, and if it matches what I ruled on here today, I'm going to sign it and get it back to them. Then they're going to mail a copy of it out to each of you, okay?
Okay.
All right. Ms. Laurent, you have any questions?
Will the court order have the times that we need to do the visitations in it?
Yes, ma'am. It'll be real specific.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Black, did you have another question, Ms. Laurent?
Oh,
Sir?
no, I was going to say that I'm able to change my work schedule to make sure that I'm there.
Okay. Remember, Ms. Laurent, you don't have to be the person that's there. You can designate any other person in your family to do that for you, okay?
Okay.
Mr. Black, do you have any questions?
No, sir.
I wish you both the best of luck.